What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. You guys know what today's video is. It is time for the Hot 10 Comics of the Week breakdown. Now, if you're new to this video, what I do is I take the 10 hottest comics according to the Key Collector app, and I break them down for you guys and gals and let you know which books I'm buying, but more importantly, at which prices I want to pay. But before we get started in the video, I remind you guys, if you're not a current sub of the channel, do yourself a favor, hit that sub button. You will not regret it. You're missing out on videos like this. But not only that, I need you to hit that like button for me. We need to get this video out to everyone out there. Now, with that out of the way, let's get into this week's breakdown. Starting it off this week at number 10 is Special Marvel Edition number 15, the first appearance of Shang-Chi, the Master of Kung Fu. 7 copies broke the average this week with a high sale and a CGC 8.5, selling for only $281 and up 7% over the average. Next up, a CGC 8.0 sale for $235, up another 7% over the average. And finally, a CGC 7.0 selling for only $203, up an insane 34% over the average. Shang-Chi makes the list for the first time in 2025. Believe it or not, this book has gotten incredibly cheap over the past couple of years. Do I want to own it? I think for $200 or super high grade, hell yeah, I'd be picking this book up every chance that I get, especially in the raw form. I'm not a huge Shang-Chi fan, but I still like to own the book for around $200. Here's a character I am a fan of at number 9 this week is DC Comics Presents number 47 and the first appearance of He-Man and Skeletor in a standard comic. A whopping 8 sales beat the average this week with a high in a CGC 9.8 selling for a crazy $1,800, but get this, up an incredible 33% over the average. Next up, a CGC 9.6 sale for only $525, but up 20% over the average. And lastly, a CGC 9.6 newsstand copy selling for around the same price at around $600, up 15% over the average. Right now, everyone is super excited, just like I am, about the Masters of the Universe film that's coming out June 5th of 2026. If you're a He-Man fan, you probably want to own the book. Do I want to spend a crazy amount of money to own it in a 9.8? No, but $500 for a 9.6 doesn't seem like a bad deal to me. At the 8th spot this week, how about some X-Men goodness? It is Uncanny X-Men number 129 and the first appearance of Kitty Pryde and Emma Frost. 8 copies broke the average this week with a high in a CGC 9.8, selling for $1,535 and up 5% over the average. Then we had a CGC 9.6 sale for only $459 and up 1% over the average. And finally, a CGC 9.0 selling for only $225, but up 17% over the average. Do I want to spend $1,500 in a 9.8? Hell no, that's just not me. It's not a big enough key for me to spend that type of money, but for a 9.6, it's really not that bad. $500, and you guys know me, I like to spend that $500 amount or less when I'm buying first appearances. So yes, go ahead, buy this book if you want. I'm always a fan. Now let's talk about a mainstay on this list. At number 7 this week is Marvel Superhero Secret Wars number 8 and the origin of the Black Symbiote costume. 5 copies in a 9.8 alone broke the average this week with a high selling for $530, up 10% over the average. But guess what? We also had a CGC Mark Jewelers insert in a 9.6 selling for an insane $2,500 and up 25% since this past November. Do I want to own the book? Yes, I say it all the time. Just like I said before, $500 for a 9.8, I'd be all over this book, but it's got to have great colors. That is the thing that we have to talk about with this book. Am I buying a Mark Jewelers copy for $2,500? Hell no, you can get a major first appearance for that kind of money. Speaking of mainstays, at number 6 this week is Amazing Spider-Man number 300 and the first full appearance of Venom. This is also an iconic cover by the great Todd McFarlane. A whopping 20 copies broke the average this week with a high in a CGC 9.8, selling for $2,850, up 8% over the average. We also had 4 copies in a 9.4 and in a 9.2 that were sold, each having a high sale of $640, up 9%, and the latter of $552, up 11% respectively. Venom took a well-deserved 8-week hiatus from the list, but makes his triumphant return to the Hot 10 list this week. You guys know I want to own this book, but I don't want to spend $3,000 on a 9.8 for the book that has the most graded copies on CGC Census. I just can't do it. I own a 9.2 signed by Todd McFarlane. I think I paid under $500 for for that book, but a 9.4 or a 9.2 is around that range right now anyway, so that's what I'd be looking to buy. Let's head back to the Bronze Age. At number 5 is Marvel Spotlight number 5 and the first appearance and origin of Ghost Rider Johnny Blaze. 7 sales beat the average this week with a high in a CGC 8.0, selling for $2,220, but only up 1% over the average. Then we had a CGC 7.0 sale for $1,500, up 8% over the average. And finally, a CGC 6.0 selling for a cool $1,000, up 2% over the average. I tell you all the time, there's about 10 books from the Bronze Age that I want to own for the long term, and this is right at the top of that list, or maybe number 2 if you're a Giant Size X-Men fan. Either way, I want to own this book. You just got to get the copy that you want to own for the long term in your collection and be under that last sale. Coming in at the 4th spot this week, how about we talk about a classic cover? We have Incredible Hulk number 340 and this iconic cover by Todd McFarlane. Only 4 copies, just in a 9.8 this week, broke the average. The high sale was $1,170 and up 16% over that average. It's been 21 weeks since Hulk 340 has made the list, and am I glad it's back? I'm going to say hell no. This book was on the list literally every week for the whole 2024. Do I love this book? Yeah. Do I want to spend $1,000 on a 9.8? Hell no. You can find this book raw for around $200 in really nice shape. That's what I'm looking to buy. Stay away from the higher grades. To me, it's just not worth it. Rounding out the top 3 is a book that I already mentioned. It is Giant Size X-Men number 1 and the first appearance of the new X-Men team. 6 sales beat the average this week with a high in a CGC 9.4, selling for $5,640, but only up 1% over the average. Then we had a CGC 8.0 sale for $3,240, up 11% over the average. And finally, a CGC 6.5 selling for $2,100, up 15% over the average. This is the 10th time in 2025 that Giant Size X-Men number 1 has made the Hot 10 list. You guys know how I feel about this book already. I want to own it, so I'm giving it a thumbs up. One of the best Bronze Age keys you could own. But with that said, you got to buy this book with incredible colors or stay the hell away from it, because to each his own. It is just not worth it to buy a faded copy or where the reds are not as bright or the book is not as white either. Sticking with the Bronze Age, at number 2 is more X-Men. Guess what? It is Uncanny X-Men number 101 and the debut of new powers as Jean Grey is reborn as the Phoenix. A crazy 11 copies broke the average this week with a high sale in a CGC 9.6, selling for $2,195, but get this, up an incredible 56% over the average. Next up, we had a 9.4 sale for only $1,300, but get this, up 36% over the average. And finally, a CGC 9.2 selling for $901, up 14% over the average. Man, X-Men is starting to heat up a little bit. If you don't have these X-Men books, now may not be the time. Regardless, I do want to own them for the long term, so I'm giving them a thumbs up. But just like Giant Size X-Men number 1, get the copy you want to keep in your collection for the long term, or else I'd be staying away. And finally, at the top spot, a massive key, but guess what? It's another X-Men book. It's the X-Men book. It is X-Men number 1, the first appearance of the original X-Men team, and this is also the first appearance of Magneto. 6 copies broke the average this week with an incredible high sale in a CGC 8.5, selling for $45,600, up 2% over the average. Next up, a CGC 4.0 sale for $9,000, up 4% over the average. And lastly, a CGC 2.5, right up my alley, selling for $5,650, up 8% over the average. Man, I remember that book is selling for around $300 a couple of years back. The Key Collector app actually had data for the high sale of X-Men 1 in an 8.5 grade, ranging from $8,390 in 2005 to 2024 when it sold to $57,600. Man, that is incredible. This is only the second time in 2025 X-Men 1 has made the Hot 10 list. You guys know I want to own this book. It's one of the 10 to 15 Silver Age Marvel grails I think you gotta own if you're a big comic book collector. That's just my opinion. So yes, if you're a long-term holder, go ahead, grab this book. But I'm going to say this, if you're going to sell this book within the next 2 to 3 years, I'd be staying away, just like most comics. That's it for the list this week, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Again, a lot of great books are selling every week on this list, and the one I do on Tuesdays, the top 10 comics of the week. So make sure you check out that video as well. It is now time for my best buy of the week, and when there's a big banger on these lists, I'm usually going with that. It's going to be X-Men #1 and the first appearance of the original X-Men team. It is a must-own book, in my opinion, if you're an X-Men fan. Hope you guys enjoyed the list. This is Lawrence over at Mighty Comics and Collectibles saying thank you for watching, happy collecting, and I'll talk to you guys soon.